right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. I'd like to welcome everybody to this this virtual public input session for the Murphey Candler Lake House parking lot. My name is Burke Brennan. I'm the Director of Communications for the City of Brookhaven. I have with me Mac Kane. Mac, you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do there at CPL?
Okay, thanks, Burke. I'm Senior Landscape Architect at Clark Patterson Lee, or CPL as it's known now. I'm the lead landscape architect on these Brookhaven projects, and I've been directing 3 project managers to do the work.
Now, you've been working on this particular project with the Murphey Candler Lake House for a while now. We had a public input session back in February on the lake house itself. Can you talk a little bit about how that went?
Sure. It started out with the old scout hut that sits there on the site, that people were concerned about it. We went through a process and decided that the building wasn't really worth saving. And then we went through a public input process to get the programs that we felt like the general public would like to have in the building and get a good consensus on what should be in that building as far as activities, programs, and uses. Through that process, we came out with a program which we've turned into a footprint of the building. We took that footprint and pushed it around on the site 2 or 3 times until we came up with the current location, which has been well received in several public meetings that the city council has put on.
And this public input process is why it has now a lake house motif. It started off in the Parks Bond referendum as a community center, but based upon the feedback of the community, they wanted it to have more of a small community feel and function to it.
That's right, and through that process, we felt like it was better to have it closer to the lake with a lake view. It gives it a little more character and opens up the space to do a better parking design, because now that the old building is gone, we have a big hole in the site that we can use for parking.
Right, and parking is always an issue, particularly at Murphey Candler with all the activities that are going on. So what we have what we're about to discuss rather are 4 parking lot options that are going to go before the mayor and city council. We're going to show each one on the screen. We'll talk about each and every one of them. And what we'd like everybody that's watching us to do is to take a look at these 4 options and then send us an email to let us know which ones you prefer or which ones you don't prefer, as the case may be. But we're going to go through the 4 options that the mayor and council will be considering. And Mac, if you've got anything else to say, we'll just dive right in.
Okay.
All right, let's see if we can't. Let's see how good I am at this Zoom thing. There we go. So the Murphey Candler Park Lake House parking lot options are as follows. Number 1.
Before I actually explain what we did on the site, you will see on the right-hand side, the dark rectangular building is where we've placed the lake house with a beautiful view of the lake.
Okay.
As you come down the sewer easement there toward the entrance that comes off of Nancy Creek Drive, there are 2 trees
right here.
Right there. That one's a large white oak and one's a tulip poplar. Both are very large, very beautiful trees that have gotten a lot of attention as to people wanting them to be saved if possible.
Now, which was the oak? Is this the oak on the bottom?
The white oak is, yep, it's the first one. It's the biggest one. It's very visible when you turn in to the driveway.
Oh, I was advancing. I didn't mean to do that.
Options.
All right, so site plan option 1. So existing parking, we have 52 spaces right now in front of the scout hut. Now where is the scout hut as it relates to this parking lot right now?
The existing scout hut, if you put your cursor on the 3 or the 2, 3 handicap spaces, the building is right there.
Okay, this is where the scout hut is now.
Scout hut is, and if you go a little to the left where that driveway goes out,
okay,
that's where the garage was.
Got it.
So that's all coming out, and it's going to be graded flat, and there really are no trees around it to save. There's 1 or 2 little ones that we're going to lose as a result of the demolition. But what's happened is we had a lot of parking down in the lower left corner. It's all asphalt. And then we had the building. So by the time we take out the building and tear out the asphalt, we have a pretty big open space. So as you read this map, any of the trees that are white with the black circle around them, those are existing trees that we intend to keep.
Like these guys right here.
Those are to remain after the project is done.
So all of these
The
trees
green-
here are trees that are there, and they would remain unchanged right here and right here.
That's right.
Okay.
The green trees are the ones that we're putting on the site to soften the effect of a large parking lot and to provide shade. And
Okay.
you'll notice that a lot of them are on the left-hand side to produce screening from the houses that are on the other side of the street.
Okay.
So in this one, we decided to go just as minimum as we could, because we know there are two camps. There's one group that wants to save all the trees, and there's another group that wants a lot of parking. So we tried to accommodate both camps by presenting these plans. And this one takes out very few trees, takes out 8 trees. Most of them are pines or small understory trees. And it puts back 53 cars, and we think in a better arrangement that's easier to drive around and move around in. But it does not increase the parking as it currently exists.
Okay, so this is almost the status quo option. We pick up one parking place from what's there now. 8 trees come out, most of them small and pine, as you said, and we have 41 trees that go in this space.
That's right.
Okay, so this is option number 1. So keep that in mind, and we'll now proceed now to option number 2.
Option number 2, we felt like because the ball fields do need more parking, and we're adding adding the lake house, which will require parking as well, that we really needed to increase the parking beyond the standard 52 that was already there. This design is very similar to number 1, except that we extended the parking up the driveway to the north.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I was wondering where those extra 30 spaces were coming from, but they're all up here at the top, aren't they?
They're all pretty much all up there at the
Okay.
top. And we didn't have to take out that many more trees. Most of the ones we did take were pines.
And
So
we still
lost-
have these trees down here at the down here, the poplar and the white oak.
The oak and the poplar at the entrance are still there, which have a lot of concern for those trees. So this is a better plan as far as increasing the parking, and it still does very little damage to the existing site.
Right, 22 trees would have to come out under this plan. 41 trees are going in with this plan. So this is kind of a status quo plus option. We get
That's right.
it's a very similar footprint, it looks like, and it's a very similar amount of trees at the end, and picks up 30 parking places, or what?
It went from
Almost
53 to 81. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So this is site plan option number 2. Let's move on now to site plan option 3. This is
On option
different.
3, yes, on this one we tried to push it a little bit harder and reconfigure the parking lot to get a few more spaces. We tried to improve the circulation so that people can move around in this parking lot until they find a space. And we focused the placing of the parking lot where the old scout hut used to be and where the old parking lot used to be as much as possible, and the extension to the north along the driveway. In this one, we had to take out 42 trees, and we had to put back 55 trees, but it still saves the 2 trees that folks are most concerned about.
These guys right here. And
And
saves a bunch of trees here and here.
Right. And it also maintains the handicap parking, because we have to have handicap parking for
Right
the
there.
lake house in close proximity. But we also have to have handicap parking for the ball fields, because this parking lot is pretty much the only parking lot on the west side for all those ball fields across the road.
So, and that's an ADA thing. That's a federal requirement. That's not anything that is mandated or controlled by the city of Brookhaven at all.
No, but we have to have them as available for the people using the ball fields.
Okay, so option 3, that pretty much doubles the capacity of the parking lot right now, still saves, there's a significant number of trees that would have to be removed, but 55 go in. So option 1 was small, and I guess option 2 would be medium. Option 3 would be would double the capacity. So those are the first 3 options. So
And pretty much all the trees we're taking out are either pines or understories.
now I know what the next frame is going to be. So let's go ahead and address it right now. Those 2 trees right there on the bottom, the poplar and the white oak. Watch that, because here we go. We're going to advance the frame. This is the frame in which those 2 trees would disappear, but there's a trade-off, right, Mac?
That's right. On this plan, we decided to just close our eyes and see how many cars we could actually get on the site inside the codes and the requirements by the city, which is we have to have those trees in the parking lot every 8 spaces. So we had to completely ignore the trees, completely ignore the contours. This particular layout would do a tremendous amount of damage to the site, grading wise, as well as tree removal. And as you can see, we're going to remove 75% of the trees, actually all the trees within that area. And we pick up
all the
75 more
trees.
spaces.
All the existing
existing
trees.
trees.
Right. Yeah. So remember the green space, the green trees, the green circles are trees that would be added. And
New trees.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had a smattering of them in options 1, 2, and 3. So what you're talking about, those parking lot trees are in the parking lot area. But all those other trees would still remain. So again, it's a trade-off. I'm trying to do the math in my head, 3.5 times what the existing parking is now. We get that much more parking, but we do lose a lot of trees. That's the trade-off, right?
Yep, and this particular parking lot would be highly visible from the houses across the street and from anyone driving along Nancy Creek Drive. It also would be very, very visible from the river, from the lake house.
Right. And look, yeah, and the design of this lot, it's almost a perfect rectangle. The other ones sort of had a natural contour and they had curves. This one is a lot of straight lines.
Part of the intent for putting the lake house where we put it was that it would be down below the slope, close to the lake, with a lot of trees between it and the Candler Lake Drive, so that it's kind of secluded in the woods. It has a woodsy feeling when you go to the lake. This particular layout pretty much takes away that option.
Right. So that's something to be considered as well. So this is option 4. So this is where we need to turn it over to the viewing public, the residents of the city of Brookhaven, and ask them to weigh in and let us know what you think of this. You've seen options 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll run through them one more time. Option 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which one do you want in Murphey Candler Park? That's what the elected officials are going to have to. The mayor and council are going to have to look at these maps. And they want to know what the public thinks. They want to know what the citizens of Brookhaven think about these 4 options. I cut you off, Mac. Did you want to say something?
I wanted to add that these are conceptual drawings. We haven't gone into engineering them yet, so they would change somewhat when we get into engineering, but not much. The idea was to get these concepts on the floor, on the ground, and get the opinion
and establish a direction.
Which one they like.
Yes,
That's right.
Okay, so tell us what you think. parksfeedback@brookhavenga.gov. We'll be taking emails until Sunday, the 25th of April. We'd like to know before our next city council meeting what it is the citizens of Brookhaven would like to see in their Murphey Candler Park. Mac, do you have any closing thoughts on this?
No, but we'd just like to hear from you so that everybody's pleased with what we do.
Wonderful. Give us an email at parksfeedback@brookhavenga.gov. Thank you, Mac, for joining us, and everybody have a beautiful Brookhaven day.